From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to Montana This Morning on this Tuesday at 6 o'clock on Victoria Hill. Thank you so much for getting your day started with us, and good morning to Miller over in the Weather Center. What's the sky going to do today? Clouds are just kind of hanging in there.
Yeah, they are hanging in there, and they're going to kind of hang around as we go along today. We're going to see some sunshine, of course, but like you mentioned, there's some clouds out there this morning, not spitting out any rain yet. Could see some isolated showers as we go along today, and maybe enough instability where we could see a few thunderstorms as well. 40 right now at the airport. Humidity's up to 70%. Don't have to worry about any patchy fog this morning. That's good news. Winds out of the north at about 3 miles an hour. Let's crunch some quick numbers. Yesterday, up to 51, a good 14 degrees below average. Our overnight low got down into the upper 30s, just below average as well. Now, we're going to stay below average again today, but we are slowly warming up. Precipitation, nothing really much to speak of yesterday. Still pacing ahead for the month. Below for the year, and not a whole lot of rainfall to help with those totals as we go along this week. Now, when we get to the weekend, that might be a different story. Temperatures right now mainly in the 30s as we wake up. Highs today in the 50s and 60s to go along with those isolated showers and the possibility of a pop-up thunderstorm here, there, and everywhere. High today will go with 61 here in Billings. Warmer than yesterday, but still below average on this Twilight Zone day. Great show, one of my all-time favorite shows, and I know you love the show as well. You had mentioned your favorite. Any other episodes that come to mind?
Yeah, and it is one of those things, the more you think about it, the more that come to mind.
There's the mask one.
Yeah.
Wow, there we go.
The dying man.
That's what we look like before we put our makeup on coming on TV this morning.
No kidding. You remember the one where this lady has a recurring nightmare, and she's in the hospital, and I think it's called like room 22. And at the end, she goes to board her plane, and the lady says, "Room for one more," and then she freaks out because it's just so similar to her dreams that she's had.
I don't remember that
one. And then the plane takes off and explodes.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that was a good one.
So it didn't have a happy ending, that one?
No, it didn't.
I don't remember that one. I'm going to have to look that one up.
Room for one more.
Room for one more.
Yeah,
all right.
I
I did ask this question on my Facebook page. This is another one that a lot of folks remember, the gremlin on the wing of the plane.
Yes.
With William Shatner before he became Captain Kirk. That's a nightmare at 20,000 feet. And Kay just said, likes all of them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're all so good, and you always wonder, what's the twist at the end of that episode?
You're just waiting for it.
You're just waiting for it, yeah.
Don't ever see it coming either.
So if anybody has Netflix, it's on Netflix. I'm going to go home after the show today, and I'm going to do a little marathon of The Twilight Zone and Rod Serling.
Yeah. That's he's great. Rod's just great.
You know, a little trivia question here. Did you know that he wrote the movie, the first one, Planet of the Apes?
No, I didn't know that.
Well, there you go.
I didn't realize
Man was
that.
very talented.
Yeah.
A little off kilter too, but that's okay. Aren't we all?
Yeah, exactly. All righty. Well, Miller, we do have some news to get to, so I'll get started.
Okay.
Our top story this morning, a black eye for our district and community. That's a quote from the Lockwood School superintendent as a school board trustee will appear in court today accused of sexually abusing a 12-year-old girl. 61-year-old Joseph Borgstrom faces felony charges of sexual intercourse without consent and sexual assault. Prosecutors say detectives discovered evidence of the crime in Borgstrom's home, and the victim was taken to the hospital for an evaluation. Lockwood Superintendent Tobin Navazio confirmed Borgstrom was a trustee until he resigned last Friday, the same day he was admitted to jail. Navazio says while school board trustees make policy and staffing decisions, they do not have more access to students. Trustees are elected officials and are not subject to background checks, something Navazio wants to change. He's vowing to work with the Montana School Association to make sure there are set policies in place to keep students safe. Turning now to the latest COVID-19 news. Vaccination numbers have been leveling off or slowing down in parts of the country, but there will be millions of young Americans newly eligible for the Pfizer vaccine later this week. CBS's Tina Kraus explains.
About 17 million children ages 12 to 15 can start getting the Pfizer vaccine as soon as Thursday, after the FDA expanded its emergency use authorization.
We know this is a big step for our country.
Acting FDA Commissioner Dr. Janet Woodcock.
Now, parents and guardians can rest assured that in making our decision, the agency undertook a rigorous and thorough review of all available scientific data.
Pfizer's clinical trials showed the vaccine is highly effective in preventing COVID-19 in young people, and there were no serious side effects.
To be able to participate in sports or play in the band or not have the guilt associated with doing something that they should be doing on a daily basis, I think will be a huge relief.
A recent study showed 30% of parents will get their kids vaccinated as soon as possible, but about a quarter say they won't.
There's that subset of people who are maybe not complete vaccine refusalists, but maybe vaccine hesitant. Unlike measles, mumps, and rubella or chickenpox, other things, this is taken more of a politicization.
Health officials are also searching for ways to vaccinate Americans who just haven't made it a priority.
We really need to reach out to more of our population in their 20s and 30s.
In Western New York, they gave away alcohol.
They made it easy here. We came in and we even got a free shot and a free beer.
Pfizer is also conducting trials for children 6 months to 11 years old and expects to have results this fall. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
Today, President Joe Biden is meeting virtually with a bipartisan group of governors about the successes and best practices of their state COVID-19 vaccination programs. Yellowstone County health leaders will bet $50 they can get more residents vaccinated. They announced the first 400 people to get a shot at the Shrine Auditorium this coming Thursday will receive $50. The money is provided by the Riverstone Health Foundation after a donor stepped up with a $20,000 gift. Vaccination times are between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., then from 3 to 7 p.m. And again, to be eligible for the cash, you must be one of the first 400 people there. Billings Clinic nurses are getting some recognition for their response to the pandemic. The new monument now stands in the hospital's healing garden and will serve as a reminder of the hard work and sacrifice of nurses during the worst months of the pandemic. The art piece was unveiled yesterday to help celebrate National Nurses Week. Those in attendance said celebrations like this are nice, but helping patients is a true reward.
They kind of show us recognition every day, which is one of the great reasons to be a nurse. When you get to go home, even though you might have had a rough day, you do feel like you did something good in the world that day.
Tomorrow is the last day of National Nurses Week. The clinic will honor staff with an award ceremony inside Dealer Park. It could be the end of the week before the Colonial Pipeline becomes fully operational following a ransomware cyber attack. The attack shut down the country's largest fuel pipeline, and even though some of its networks are back in service, the 4 main lines are still offline. The Department of Transportation issued an emergency declaration that allows tanker truck drivers more overtime and less sleep than normally allowed. The country already faces a shortage of tanker truck drivers. The shutdown is being felt by the airline industry. The pipeline directly services 7 airports in the southern and eastern U.S. American Airlines said it would add stops to 2 long-haul flights, at least through this week, to make sure there's enough fuel. The airline is also considering trucking in fuel to airports impacted by the shortage. Analysts say airlines usually buy fuel for a week at a time, and a prolonged outage could have a larger impact on flights. Now we go to Butte, where a historic piece of Montana burned down last week, and the M&M Bar and Cafe went up in flames and smoke. That fire has long been extinguished, but now the question turns to what's next for the famous building. MTN's John Amy caught up with the owner.
The past few days have been difficult for Selena Pankovich in the wake of watching her business burn to the ground in one morning after dedicating the past 3 years of her life to building it up.
I just emotional wreck, you know. It comes and goes. It's 1 minute I'm good, and then I think I got to go grab that off the corner of my desk, and then I think there is no corner of the desk, you know.
The owner of Butte's iconic M&M Bar and Cafe, which was destroyed in a fire on May 7th, said she plans to rebuild. And she'll rebuild it in the same location the landmark stood for the past 130 years. She's compelled to do it for the community and her loyal customers.
I mean, all day long I think, where is KP going to go? Where is Chester going to go? Where is, you know, we have customers that came in 2 or 3 times a week, and it breaks my heart to think that, you know, they've lost their home, and I got to get it back. You know, I got to get it back quick.
The day of the fire, she was moved to see the firefighters carefully remove the historic M&M sign before the gutted building was collapsed.
They saved the sign, so you have no choice but to build and put the sign back. So it's very inspiring that, you know, they went through their trouble, and now it's my turn to put it back home.
Having this burnout gap in the heart of Uptown Butte is something Selena doesn't want to leave here very long, but she knows it's going to take a lot of hard work and a lot of money to fill it.
It is going to take, you know, some grant money, some fundraising, the insurance money, and my own personal investment back into the building, and more financing. But it's something I'm willing to do, and I'll do everything I can to make it happen.
Thank you, John. The fire's cause is still under investigation. Well, there's new answers in a Montana cold case as investigators have now identified remains discovered 36 years ago. Janet Lucas from Spokane, Washington, was 23 years old at the time of her death. Her remains were found by a bear hunter in 1985 just southeast of Missoula near Crystal Creek. Missoula law enforcement partnered with a Texas company that uses new DNA technology. The case is now being investigated as a homicide.